Welcome to One-on-One with Expert Flyer, where we bring you the inside scoop from travel industry experts and innovators. I'm your host, Lisa Caslin, and today's guest is popular Australian travel blogger and humorist, Anthony from the Travel Tart. Anthony is a self-professed travel addict who has devoted his life to finding unconventional ways to finance his addiction. Welcome, Anthony.
Hi Lisa, how's things?
Good, good. So, some of us Americans may not know who you are, perhaps many do, and I thought it would be just a smart idea for you to maybe give us a little bit of background on your site. I know that you take pride in not providing the most up-to-date trends in travel, but rather a more humorous approach and a look at some of the more bizarre happenings when you're on a leisure trip.
That's correct, Lisa. When I first started to do this silly travel blog, what I wanted to do was just something that I was interested in and something that was a little bit different. And I noticed that there was a lot of serious travel blogs out there, and I didn't really need to join that trend. So what I really like doing is just finding out the things that are just a bit different to what you're used to, or because sense of humor is universal. Basically, if you've got people somewhere, they have a sense of humor and they've got their own interpretations on all sorts of things. So, the main reason that I travel is that I don't run out of dinner party conversations. So I'm actually social for most of the time. But one thing you do find is people actually remember the funny signs or the things that don't translate very well into English, or the things that go wrong. If you come back home from a trip and you have a slide night and you show 2,000 photos, you'll send everyone to sleep. But if you got something that gives people a bit of a laugh, they actually take note of that and they think, oh, that's actually pretty cool.
So if you were to kind of go back in your memory and think about some of the more funny countries or cultures, what would you say stands out most?
Okay, look, probably one of the top of my list would be Ireland. The Irish have got a fantastic sense of humour. They don't take themselves seriously at all. But having said that, as I mentioned before, anywhere you go in the world where there are humans, there's going to be a sense of humour. It might be just a little bit different to what you're used to. So I've had a good laugh pretty much everywhere I've been to, because it might be like a little misunderstanding or something like that, but people just think, oh, that's pretty cool, and just have a bit of a laugh and just get on with their day. But
so if we kind of turn the tables around a little bit, when you have that sort of sense of humor and you travel to another culture, for example, Japan. I was there a couple of years ago, and not to say that Japanese culture has no humor, of course they do, but it's a lot different, I think, than Western type of humor. So how do you deal with that? How does that work?
Well, actually, I really love Japan. It's just one of the most bizarre and quirkiest places I've ever been to. But the people there are really nice and very polite. And when in Rome, you do what Romans do, and you do the thing in Japan, you sort of do what they do. I think it's just that the reason why we travel is not to find exactly what we have in home. Otherwise, it's just no point in traveling. I think the whole point is to go and experience that destination, and you respect it for what it is. And because the thing is, I want to experience those new things, because I see something and I think, well, that's just an awesome idea. Why can't we have that in my culture? And I think one great example of that is I think in Latin America or South America, how they celebrate death. In Australian culture, it's like a taboo culture. No one wants to talk about death. It's just something that might happen in the future and all that. Whereas they're actually quite open about death. And I was lucky to be in La Paz on the Day of the Dead. So basically what happens is everyone floods the cemetery. The cemetery is absolutely jam-packed full of people. And everyone's there playing music, and they're having a barbecue next to their deceased relatives, giving them their favourite food or putting their favourite beer on the headstone and things like that. And I didn't actually see anyone crying or having being upset. Everyone was really happy. And I just thought, why can't we have something like that? Because I actually enjoyed it. Enjoyed walking amongst the cemetery, watching people having fun with their deceased relatives, and I just thought that was so refreshing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just about like you know, I like traveling because of the differences, not despite of the differences.
Fair enough. So you're talking to Expert Flyer, right? So our fans and followers, our subscribers love nothing more than a great airfare deal, right? Cheap
Yep.
flight. So I was, perusing your blog, and I saw a funny article that you did about finding cheap airfares the stupid way. So I thought maybe you could share a few of your tricks and ideas on that subject.
Oh, okay. Well, look, some of these I might have experienced myself. Like, you know, if you find like an airline with the dodgiest safety record that you can lay your hands on, like by all means, still get a cheap ticket. Um, I'll give you an example. This happened to me. I was in what what you find is in a lot of these ex-Soviet Union countries, they've still got these old rust bucket planes from the from the communist era, which really should be in a museum, not actually in actual
Yeah,
use.
not in the air.
Uh, yeah, and I went on an internal flight in Kazakhstan of all places, and because like the former Soviet Union is so big, you need to get a plane at some point because otherwise it'll take you forever to go overland. And so what happens, you know, went to the airport, went through security, that was all fairly standard. And then what happens as soon as you get on the tarmac, you have to load baggage on the plane yourself through the back trapdoor thing of the plane. But what was just weird though, we're about to board the plane, and the pilot suddenly realizes there's too many passengers and there's not enough seats. So what happened is that these guys turn up with a couple of wrenches and start taking out the business class seats, which were like,
No.
no, seriously, they were unbolting them right in front of our eyes. And then they went to the spare plane to bolt 6 extra rows of economy class seats, just so everyone would fit on.
Oh
And
my
then
God.
I went, okay, if this is a 2 hour flight or it's a 5 day train ride, which is going to be the best? And it didn't stop there. Like, you know, I worked out this particular plane. The best case scenario was 25 years old, but this thing looked like it was from the 60s, and the same interior like design. And went inside, and then realized like a lot of the seatbelts were A, not available, or B, if they were available, weren't working. So boy,
So
it
how
was
much did they charge you? What was your fare?
well, it was pretty cheap. I can't remember
Yeah.
off the top of my head how much it was, but honestly, I don't think it was worth it. But look, honestly, like you know, a lot of like my silly tips on how to find cheap airline tickets are, you know, they're probably not legal, like, you know, stowing away in the landing gear, or maybe try and chat up the pilot to see if, or you know, do something like a Leonardo DiCaprio did on Catch Me If You Can, and impersonate a pilot just to get a free trip, you know.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, but the thing is, there is we might laugh at it, but you know, someone in the world's probably tried this.
I bet.
Well, the other thing is like, yeah, turn up to the airport with a camera crew and say you're from the Amazing Race, and just see what things you can, what you can haggle at.
So I bet you have no problem meeting people when you're traveling, right?
Oh, look, that's the whole point of traveling, is meeting people from all over the place, and that's the best part of it, is just meeting new people. And it's easier these days, I guess, with social media. Like, you know, honestly, I've just put something out on Twitter, like, and hashtag the city, saying, oh, look, I'll be in this city. Who's keen to meet up? And then someone will reply back and say, yeah, I'd love to meet up, etc. And then, but nothing beats meeting someone face to face.
Yeah.
It sure, social media is like, and the internet's revolutionised a lot of things, but that's never ever going to replace meeting someone in the flesh and just talking to them, because you get all those different senses that you don't get, even with via computer. So like, sure, I can see you now and I can see what you look like and I can see a bit of your home, but it's not the same. Like if we went to the pub and shared a beer or wine or whatever, and just chewed the fat and just talk things.
So we just did a blog with you on some of the most bizarre, unusual experiences, including sheep gynecology statues and eating cow's nose with peanut sauce in Indonesia.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
so are you going to find, like, do you hear a rumor, ooh, I'm going to go to, Iceland because I heard there's some kind of, like weird hairy rocks and I want to go see them? Or do you just go to the destination because you want to go there and then you actually just encounter purely by accident these weird things?
I'd say it's a bit of both, but I'd say it's more so that second point where um, I'd be cruising around and I see something that just takes my eye, and I think that's just a bit out there, and I think that's really cool. And a lot of these things just surprise me. Like I find them in the places that I don't really expect to find them. But so and that could be just like I said, the signs that don't translate very well into English, um, and I just think, well, who's the you know who actually did this? Like that's why Japan's one of my favorite places. Lots of great signs that just don't make any sense or they're pretty funny. China's the same, but I think I just come across these things and they're just like because they're not really mainstream. A lot of these things aren't really don't make the tourist brochure.
Right.
Um, the tourist boards don't show this sort of stuff or the quirky side.
Yeah. Yeah.
Having said that, like I think they're starting to come around to show that part of their city, like the more offbeat things, because people are looking for something a bit unusual or a bit weird. But I think just my brain's wired to find that sort of
Just
stuff,
to
and
find it, yeah. So
yeah, and you just
how often are you traveling? I mean, are you literally traveling more than you are home? Is it rare for you to be home?
look, my the way I work is that I'm based on the east coast of Australia, so I tend to do a few trips a year outside. But I'm based in Brisbane in Eastern Australia. But I tend to go and travel within Australia, but also overseas a few times a year. So I'm not like a nomadic person, and
Right.
I don't really want to be that kind of person. But I want
Yeah.
to be one that can travel at will.
Yeah.
So that's the goal as such. So and with the travel blog, it's led to a lot of great opportunities that I
Good.
never thought were possible. Like my first surfing lesson was with a former world champion, Mark Okulupo, in Sydney, and and I was totally hopeless. Like I could barely stand up on the surfboard. It was like trying to teach a sack of potatoes how to surf. But I had so much fun, and those are priceless experiences that
Yeah.
I just wouldn't have had without the blog.
Good. Good.
So that's why I keep doing it because I just really enjoy the great experiences that come from it. So,
So
and then
have you been to the US?
yes, I've been to the US quite a few times, and I really love it there. I just have an absolute ball. I think because Americans love Australian accents, they find it a little bit quirky and offbeat. But I find that I have to slow my speech down so people can understand what I'm saying. But
Really?
I've been to yeah, seriously. I see people looking at me funny, and I realize, okay, I'm either talking slang or I need to slow down.
Right.
Um, so I've been on a few road trips in California, and also been to New Orleans, went to New York, Washington D.C., San Francisco, and what really strikes me is just how diverse the US is. So okay, so just in terms of from an outsider's point of view, um, yeah, I find the United States, each city has its own sort of culture and its
Mm-hmm.
own vibe.
It's true.
Whereas I find within Australia, like if you go to the different cities, they're more or less the same. They're pretty similar in terms of their culture and their feeling. But I find New Orleans is very laid back and
Yeah.
relaxed, big party time,
True.
and go to New York and there's just so much going on. And I was actually I found New York to be a surprisingly friendly city
Mm-hmm.
compared to others I've been to. I was really quite surprised, and I want to do a massive road trip in the US at some point because I just really quite enjoy it.
Good. So, are you off to any place in the near future, or you're just kind of chilling for the holidays, or?
I'm sort of chilling at the moment, but like these things sort of happen off the cuff, and I haven't got any solid plans for the next trip, but that could be anywhere. Like,
Well, you know what? We're going to wrap it up, but maybe we'll have you on again sometime in the future.
oh, look, I'd love to be on. If there's any like potential silly travel tips that might actually work in the real world, like I'm up for it.
Okay.